Welcome to the Greater Than Business podcast, where it's all about creating an amazingly successful business without sacrificing your quality of life, because life should be greater than business. And now, here is your host, Courtney Bedore.
This is episode 53 of the Greater Than Business podcast, and today we are going to be talking all about getting your business to the next level. So, purposely kind of left that title a little bit vague because no matter where you are in your business, you're always going to be looking to grow to that next level. And that needs to be determined by you, the business owner, and where you're at now can only be known to you, the business owner. So that is why this episode is a little bit vague, but everything that I'm going to talk about is going to be applicable no matter where you are in your business. Because if you're looking to get to your first 6 figures in business, then everything applies to you here. As well as if you are looking to get to 8 figures in your business. Everything I'm going to talk about in this episode still applies. So firstly, what you need to do in order to get to the next level in your business is figure out where you are right now. Get a good look at everything that's going on in your business. And then from there, you'll want to set up a big picture plan for your business, also known as that next level. So take a good look at where you are now, and then take a good look at where you would like to be, and then set a timeline on that big picture vision. So for some people, it would be growing your business to $1 million by insert date here. So it could be in the next 6 months. It could be in the next 6 years. That is up to you and how you want to look at your business and your goals. So the most important thing that I want you to take out of this step is that you need to have a plan. You need to know, obviously, where you are, but then you also need to know where you want to get to and what you're striving to build your business to. Because without knowing where you're going, then you can't get there. So sit down and really think about the big picture plan for your business. What do you want to see happen in the next 6 months? What do you want to see happen in the next year? What do you want to see in the next 5 years and the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself? And it doesn't need to necessarily be where you won't necessarily know where you want to be in 10 years. So some of those visions can obviously be way into the future, but you need to just kind of have an idea of what you'd like, and also accept that maybe you won't get to those visions, or maybe you will get to them a lot faster than what you anticipated. So it doesn't need to be a set in stone vision planning workshop type thing that you're doing. All it is just kind of get yourself an idea of where you want to go in your business and what are your short-term goals and long-term goals, and set deadlines on them and give yourself a really good opportunity to succeed. So make sure that you are giving yourself tasks that obviously, and goals and visions and everything that can obviously be completed. And also make sure that they are still pushing you and stretching you from where you are right now in your business. Because if you're comfortable in your business now, then that is where you're going to stay. So you have to make sure that you're kind of setting yourself up to push yourself with these goals and big visions for your business. So the next thing is, once you've figured out where you want to take your business, then you need to be doing consistent action towards your goals every single day. So that means that you need to constantly be working towards whatever it is that your big business goal is. So the easiest one to talk about is monetary goals. And we've talked about this before in several other episodes with goal setting and all of that stuff. But for this one, I really want you to focus on your big picture goal and breaking it down into daily tasks. So for me, in my business, I make sure that I look after 3 main things each day. So those 3 main big tasks, obviously, are all working towards my big picture goal. However, I also make sure that I do 3 other things, which I'm going to talk about towards the end of this episode. But those 3 other things that I do are key for my success in my business. So I really want you to focus on making sure that you are taking that consistent action all the time and make sure that it ties in with your goals and your bigger vision for your business. The next thing that I want to talk about is focus on relationships. And what I mean by that is that you need to be focusing on not only your customers, but you also need to be focusing on your audience, and you need to be building and nurturing those relationships. So this is kind of coming off of last week's episode where I was talking about nurturing your list and all the different ways that you should be doing it and why you should be doing it. So this kind of builds on that because you need to be building your relationships and you need to be building your bond with your customers as well as your audience. So after someone purchases from you, you still need to be building relationships with them. And then you also need to be building it with your audience before they become customers. So you really need to constantly be working towards building those relationships and making them as authentic as possible. Now, I understand that in the online world, it's really hard to actually feel like you're making a genuine and authentic connection with people. But trust me, it's totally possible. It's something that I have been able to do on a consistent basis with various different people. And it's something that if you are truly showing up and you're giving your value, you can build these lasting long-term relationships. And it's something that it's totally possible. It can be done, and it can be done incredibly effectively online. So give yourself a chance, sit down, and really think about how you can build up those relationships in order to boost your business. And that does not mean cold marketing to people that you don't know. What that means is the people that do know you, specifically probably the people on your list or following you on social media, make sure that you are always giving them the biggest piece of you. So don't always be looking at trying to find the next newest shiny object out there, but look at the ones that you already have and value those connections and make sure that those are the relationships that you're nurturing. So another big thing for getting your business to the next level is applying automation wherever you can. So if you start seeing repetitive tasks that you're doing in your business that are on a day-to-day basis that are driving you up the wall, see if there's a way to automate it. And if there's not a way to automate it, then you need to build a strong team around you as well. So as I've always said, automate before you delegate. It's kind of my little saying that I don't even know if I came up with it or if I heard it from someone or where it came from. Honestly, if you coined the term and you own it, please let me know. I will credit you. I honestly just don't know where I heard it the first time or if I even heard it or if it was something that just kind of was a lesson I kept telling myself. I do not know, but regardless, it is something that I really feel passionate about and that I feel like you should be able to automate the majority of things in your business. And there's usually a way out there to do it. There's a way to do it effectively, and there's a way to do it where it is still producing authentic relationships and doing things that should be done. So something like that is so easy to do, and that frees you up in your business to be able to then do those other tasks that will help take your business to the next level. And then that also ties in with the next thing I want to talk about, and that is building a strong team around you. Because if you want to get to that next level, then there's going to be challenges, and you need to make sure that as you're growing, you are also growing the team around you to support you and guide you to that next level. So there's a saying that's out there too, that's new level, new devil. And that is kind of exactly how to describe online business, because every single time you take your business up that extra little notch, or you start climbing the ladder a little bit further and getting to those big goals, you're going to hit challenges, because it's just something that you don't know. You can't anticipate for things that you don't know are going to happen. And these things will happen. There will be challenges that you never anticipated seeing. And if you're growing rapidly and you're growing at the rate that you want to be growing, you're going to encounter these roadblocks. And it's how you hit those roadblocks that makes you a better business owner. The best thing that I can say is making sure that you've anticipated those hiccups before they actually happen, and make sure that you have a team around you that knows how to deal with issues. So make sure that you've got people that you trust, people that know your business, and make sure that they love your business as much as you do. And make sure that you're paying them well. That is number one, the biggest thing. If you are trying to undercut somebody that you're hiring, then you shouldn't be looking to hire if you can't pay someone what they're worth. And that's a whole other lesson for a whole other day, but that is a big thing that I want you to consider, is if you feel like you can't afford to bring on a team member, then maybe you should look to automating that first. And if you can't, then you need to respect that you're hiring someone based upon their skill set, and they've worked years on that skill set, and you need to respect that, and you need to pay them for it. So trust me, I could go on a whole rant about that, but I'm not going to do that. What we're focusing on here is getting your business to the next level, and having that strong team around you is the best way to do it. And in order for you to not have high turnover, and in order for you to actually build a team that genuinely cares about your business, the quickest and easiest way to get someone to really care about your business is to pay them what they're worth. So build a strong team around you that really values everything, and that will for sure help you take your business to the next level, whatever that level may be. So next thing is kind of a big one that I talk about a lot on this podcast and in my life, and that is boundaries. So I have to kind of be honest here for a second and let you know that as much as I preach about boundaries and love boundaries, I am the worst at following boundaries. I set them, and then I will deviate away from them. And I won't mean to, but it's just one of those things that I'm still consciously working on every single day, of setting my boundaries and respecting them, and setting my boundaries and respecting them. And that is definitely something that I know for myself that I have to keep working on. So if you're feeling that way, and you constantly feel like when you set boundaries, then you just throw them out the window the next week, get consistent with those boundaries. And it is a daily thing that you'll have to do, where you have to almost remind yourself, like, oh, I'm done work at 3:00, so I need to stop working at 3:00. So things like that, you'll get there. But as your business grows and you do take it to that next level, you're really going to make sure that you've kind of honed in on which boundaries really, really are detrimental to you, and which ones you're willing to let slide. But you need to also realize that when you let them slide, then that means that you are inviting more chaos into your business. So if you can stick to them as best as you can, then you will be able to take your business up to that next level. And if you're even thinking about going up a level in your business and you don't have boundaries in place, I want you to hard stop. I want you to turn around, you turn that car, and go back and look at your boundaries, and look at all of the expectations that you have in your business and in your life and all of the priorities you have set up, and really set those boundaries down in stone. Now, another thing that I want to talk about here that is essential for taking your business up to the next level is staying focused on one thing at a time. So I don't mean as far as like in your business, you could only be focusing on one task until that task is completed. What I mean is that when you are in the middle of a task, do not let anything else distract you from that task until it is done. So it's as simple as if you're going to sit down and read a book for 30 minutes, you are going to sit down and read a book for 30 minutes. You're not going to get up. You're not going to go scroll Facebook. You're not going to take a phone call. You're not going to start working on client work. You're not going to start working on something else. You're going to sit down and you're going to read a book for 30 minutes. That is how it's going to go. You need to make sure that whatever you're working on, you work on until it is completed. And I mean this for the smaller tasks in your business, because if you sit down each day and you've got 15 things on your plate and you only get half of each of those tasks completed, then what's happened is you might have dabbled in a couple things for your next day's tasks, or you might have kind of created new tasks for yourself in the meantime, but you're still only going to have half of those 15 items done. And what's worse is that you're probably going to then have to tackle them the next day and the next day and the next day. And eventually it's going to snowball and you're going to have so many half-done tasks in your business, and you're just going to run out of time to be able to catch back up. Then what you're going to do is stress yourself out. You're going to abandon your boundaries. You're going to start working overtime. You're going to start stressing out your team. And it's just going to become a huge spiral downward. So what I want you to do is when you start a task, you finish it. Does not matter what happens in between when you start that task and when you finish it. You do not jump to any other task unless it is an urgent matter. But other than that, you stick with that task and you get it done. So for me, when I sit down and I record a podcast episode, I do nothing else until the episode is done. And that means I have to write my show notes, I have to record, I have to do all of my prep work, I have to upload it, make sure I send it to my editor. I have to make sure that I've updated the show notes in my document for my editor, a whole bunch of things like that. But I have to make sure that I do them all at once, because if I start recording an episode, walk away from it, and forget to come back, then I kind of forget the train of thought that I've had during that episode. And it can really mess me up, because then I basically have to kind of start all over again. And that works the same way for any task that you're doing in your business. Once you've got that flow and that momentum going, use it and keep going through it. Make sure that you're finishing each task you start so that you don't have to kind of start from scratch each time when you try to pick up that task. So there's obviously going to be situations that will get in the way, but if you can kind of make it a good habit of when you start a task, you finish that task, then you will thank me later for this, because that is one of the biggest ways to take your business up to the next level is just make sure that every day you're checking off those tasks and fully completing them. That's the key. Having a bunch of half-cooked meals doesn't feed your family. You have to have a fully cooked meal consistently in order to not starve. So that's the best metaphor that I could give for this situation, and it actually kind of made me laugh a little bit. Okay, so the next one is all about developing good business habits and a good schedule. So having a good daily schedule and making sure that you have good habits within that schedule is key. Once again, this all kind of ties back to being consistent, building relationships, setting boundaries, focusing on one thing at a time. They're all so intertwined and connected. And it all kind of comes down to developing good business habits and good business schedules. So that is a big thing. And you need to make sure that when you're setting up that big picture plan for your business and whatever that next level is going to be, you need to make sure that you're creating those base habits that will help take you to that level. Because once again, as I said, new level, new devil. So if you don't have all of your ducks in a row at whatever level you're at now, then you can't possibly grow to the next level. You can't build a house if your foundation is crumbling. So you really have to make sure that you build the foundation of whatever level you're at so that you can then start building on that first floor. You have to have that solid foundation in order to be able to get to that next level. And you can't have a foundation that's falling apart and pieces missing and windows that are falling out and all of this other stuff. You have to have that solid structure built at the bottom before you can build up. So that is why I'm talking about all of these little tiny intricate things, because they're all part of your foundation. They're all part of your business, and they're all part of things that need to be in place and solidly in place before you can even think about getting to that next level. So it's super important that you keep that in mind as you're planning, because it's great to sit down and plan. It's great to put up a vision board. It's great to be able to sit there and say, I'm going to make $1 million this year. Yep, going to do it. It's going to happen. Okay, but how? Because last time I checked, you can barely do those little mundane day-to-day tasks and get them completed. So how are you going to take your business from $0 to $1 million when you haven't even figured out how to get it from $0 to $100,000? And how are you then going to say, if you're making $100,000, how are you going to get to that $1 million when you've just kind of thrown shit together to get to that $100,000? You need to steadily hit that $100,000 and realize what building blocks got you to that $100,000, and then replicate that and scale it upwards to get to that $1 million. Because if you don't have a good foundation, then you can't build upon it. So if you don't know how you got to your first 100,000, then you need to work on getting to your next 100,000 before you can work on getting to your $1 million, if that makes sense. That's kind of the best way that I can word it. I hope that you guys followed me there. If not, shoot me an email and I will try to explain it in less Courtney terminology and some better words there for you. But those are the things that I mean, where you can't just vision something and think it's going to happen when you don't put the action and the consistency behind it. And you can't put the action and the consistency behind it if you're just half-assing it. And I know that sounds a little harsh, but that's the reality. You can't get to that next level if you don't not even perfect the level that you're at. But if you don't have a good, solid structure at the level you're at, then you need to figure out how to make that solid before you can jump up to the next level, whatever that level may be. Going from 100,000 to $1 million is kind of a big jump, but like things like that, whatever your vision is, whatever your big plan and big picture plan for your business is, you need to make sure that you're viewing it as a house, that you got to solidify your foundation. You've got to build that first floor. You've got to build that second floor. Actually, maybe not even a house, maybe a tower. You're building a freaking tower in your business. But you've got to make sure the biggest thing is that that foundation is set. And then that first floor is set. That second floor set. And then you can keep moving upwards. And obviously, as you do keep moving upwards, you may have some problems and some new things that you find. And you might have to kind of step back a minute, go back, work on that first floor. But then you can go right back into that second floor once you figured out those issues that maybe you just didn't see when you were at that level. But now that you've gone up one more level, then you can see, oh, actually, I probably should have honed in this first before I jumped up. And that is one of the key things that you'll see as you kind of start planning your next level. So The very last thing that I want to talk about before I wrap up this episode is always do these 3 things every single day. These are 3 things that I found that are amazing to grow your business, grow yourself, and really help to keep you on a good path in your business and also keep you constantly learning new things in your business. So what I do every single day is I write anything. I write for 30 minutes. And usually that 30-minute timeline, it's usually an email that I'll write or a blog post, but I make sure that I write something every day. That is huge. The reason why is that because my business is all online, that by writing, I know that I'm putting my words out there for people to consume. Whether it be through email, social media, even just program workbooks, whatever it is, I make sure that I write for 30 minutes every day. So the next thing that I do is I record something every day. So obviously I run a podcast, so recording podcast episodes is essential because that is my weekly content. But I make sure that I record something. So whether it be a video to help with a client issue, whether it be videos for the resource library to help people, give them more assets for themselves to use, whatever it is, I record one thing because I know that if I'm putting stuff out there consistently, that's going to build my business and take it to the next level. And then the last thing that I do is I try to learn for 30 minutes every single day. Now, as I've grown in my business, I've actually moved that to an hour every single day because I've got a lot of things that I want to learn more about. And I've taken a lot of courses that I want to dive back into. And I feel like for me, as someone in the online industry, and because I do talk about so many different topics related to online business, I feel like I need to constantly be learning and I need to constantly be honing my skills and I need to be learning new ways to do things, new strategies, and I really just need to be taking more knowledge in so that I can then share it with you guys and I can also implement it in my business and then share the takeaways with you guys as well. So learning for me is a big one. So I make sure every single day I always have my big 3 tasks. My big 3 tasks are always 3 huge tasks that relate to my big picture plan or my big goals for my business. But on top of that, I've got my 3 other things that I do. I don't really know how to word it, but I always make sure I write, I record, and I learn. So there's basically kind of 6 main things I do every single day. And that has helped me to develop those good business habits that I talked about in my last point. It's also allowed me to have better boundaries because I will know that I do not touch client work until I've done those 6 things every day, or I've scheduled it into my day so that I know that, okay, this day I have a client meeting early in the morning, so I obviously can't do all of my things before then, but afterwards I'm going to carve out an hour and a half. That's when I'm going to do those other things that I want to do, and then I know I can get to some client work, and then I've got 30 minutes at the end of the day where I'm going to read. So I can plan all this out and I make sure that I make a point of putting it on my calendar, putting it on my schedule, and sticking to it. Because if you can't plan and work around your own schedule and figure out how to make this business work for you, then you won't be having a business that's going to last very long. So you really have to get honed in on these skills. Make sure that you're always remembering whatever that next level is that you want to get to, and making sure that every single actionable task that you do in your business relates to that. And as I said, focusing on relationships is a huge one. So even if you're just talking to people, talking to your audience, talking to your clients, that right there is a huge step to get you to that next level. So even as something as simple as that can be a giant check mark on your to-do list every single day. So it's really key that you kind of sit down and you plan this out and you think about growing and think about getting to that next level, because even if you are comfortable where you are right now, trust me, growing is so much fun. It really pumps the juices back into you as far as creativity goes, and it really gets rid of that stagnant feel sometimes that you get in business where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just going through the motions every single day. And it starts kind of feeling like a job. So bringing in those big picture visions and thinking about getting to that next level, whatever it may be, having that goal, having that thing to work towards is crucial, especially for entrepreneurs, because all of us tend to revert back to our comfort zones. And we forget that we can grow because the sky is the limit in our business. We can take our businesses wherever we want to go. It's just a matter of how much time, how much effort, and what you're willing to do to get there. So I'm going to leave you with that for today. As usual, if you have any questions at all, my email is at the bottom of the show notes page. You can find the show notes for this episode at greaterthanbusiness.com/053. And you will also be able to find our link to our resource library down at the bottom of that page. And our resource library for this episode is all about online business strategy and the ways that you can grow your business and the strategical things that you can do to really set yourself up for success. So it's a really fun resource library that we're building there, and I can't wait for you guys to sign up and get access to it. So that's it for today. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic week, and I will talk to you again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Greater Than Business podcast at www.greaterthanbusiness.com.